Yo, 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 yo. Hey, man, look, we back. We back on Monday night. And lo and behold, Pat McAfee has just shown up. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Just had to run and do some stuff real quick
Mm,
and go get my
okay.
daughter and just kind of just it's been end of the school year hijinks. So yeah, but other than that, doing all right. You guys?
School's out for summer.
Yes, sir.
So,
Man, I can't complain too much right now myself. Just kind of shoot, man. Back to a full week of work, and today wasn't the most pleasant day, but I mean it was a day, and I got through it. So hey, life is life.
Life is life. I like that's yep.
yes,
that's,
indeed.
that's about it.
And man, life is life. And shout out to Sports for You, everybody who's out there in Los Angeles. We love you. Got to spend a special shout out to you guys. We love you guys. Be careful out there. Y'all know what it is. And just be careful, be safe, and keep your head on the swivel out there. All right. So I would be remiss if I didn't say that right about now. There's got a lot of people out there. And like I said, Sports for You, just to name a few, a lot of people out there on the West Coast that we rock with, and that we're cool with. So, we got to send our love out there to the people out there in Los Angeles. But let's get into it, man. Let's just go ahead and get into it. Was this R-Truth release a work, or was it legit?
I think it was legit. And because I don't know, the timing does feel very coincidental, and it feels like it's a complete work because the timing's just but it just feels legit because part of it's like his son talking about stop the cap. Part of me is like, and he's coming up saying like, oh nah, this wasn't the work. But then you get to thinking like,
They're not going to admit it's work.
why would he admit? Yeah, I was about to say, why would he admit it? But then again, Carlito's not coming. Carlito's not gonna come back in his contract, and it's one of those like it kind of fell into a pattern with other releases, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I'm torn because it's like I want to say it was a work, and it worked to perfection, but then the other side of me is like, this is a business. And stuff like this happens all the time when they get released at points where they shouldn't be released. It happens a lot. So it's like, I don't know. But hopefully at the end of this, we get Ron Killing versus John Cena at Night of Champions for the WWE title anyway. So, hey, as long as we get that, I'm happy. I think that's going to be the Night of Champions match anyway. So, I'm for it if that's what we get.
I'm all right. As much as I'm in the middle on this, I'm going to take a stance and say this was a work. And the reason why I say this is as much as, yes, this coincided with the other releases. And technically they weren't releases. Their contracts are just not being renewed.
They're not. Yeah, exactly.
So technically they're still with the company. So is Carlito. So are all the other names. Now, mind you, all the other releases, for the most part, actually kind of made sense. Carlito was just kind of twisting in the wind with the Judgment Day. He really wasn't doing anything. They've been slowly breaking apart the Judgment Day for the last 6 months with they really haven't stepped on the nail, but they've just been kind of skirting around it. A lot of the other releases, were, a lot of them were injured. So, we had a lot more female call-ups from NXT. So you don't want to, and the talent they let go again, off injured, and really they weren't really doing anything with the company. And when you got, Stephanie Vaquer coming up, and then other ones like that. Not to mention they just signed Mariah May. You know, the other ones make sense. The only one that didn't make sense was R-Truth.
Oh, I know we ain't finna get CM Punk and John Cena in the ring at the same time.
Oh, it's about to get ugly in a hurry.
Oh no, it's
okay, all right.
So I'm of the stance of when it happened originally, I said it on the show that I thought it was a work. I still think it is. I think the fact that R-Truth announced it himself, again, the thing that the WWE to pull off surprises, and if anybody knows, since the advent of the internet, pulling off surprises when it comes to wrestling has been harder and harder with dirt sheets and everything else like that. Or I should say the expansion of the dirt sheets, where it used to be dirt sheets used to be, you know, you had to know somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody to even get a sniff of one. Now they're on Reddit boards everywhere. People are reporting stuff. You know, we know when contracts are up. And so I look at this as the WWE and Triple H being smart enough to, how do we work the fans? What's up, PSP? What I don't really like, I want to comment on this on another angle. I see a lot of content creators being mad about if this was a work, on how they were manipulated emotionally. And it's like, I don't know.
Time out. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Go ahead.
Could you repeat that one more time?
I see a lot of like content creators, like bigger time WWE wrestling commentators, that are complaining that, you know, the debate back and forth, whether it's a work or it's kayfabe or whatever, and now they're complaining that if it was a work, that they were manipulated and such. And I'm like sitting there going, like, this is why I look at the modern wrestling fan as they are never happy. If this was legit a work, bravo, because you got his son involved, you got other wrestlers, and all it took was other wrestlers just tweeting out saying how upset they were. Like, it didn't take much to like make this a work. You have Ron Killings, you have Truth tweet out saying that his contract's not being renewed and he's no longer with the WWE. The internet goes up into an outrage because everybody loves R-Truth. Okay, you have a couple wrestlers tweet out how upset they are. You have his son say that Triple H is a lying sack of shit, you know, and you got yourself a work. So this isn't that complicated to pull off. You have some high profile people like Chelsea Green and others just comment and say, this sucks, this is an outrage. And then you put out a couple things or whatever saying that, like, oh, you know, we're muting out things and we're subverting talent from wearing R-Truth shirts. Like, are they really? Now, don't get me wrong. What I do like, though, is that if they're playing into the corporate aspect of the TKO stuff, bravo. I'm just going to say it's a work, and I'm going to go, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'd rather it be a work than it not be a work.
Yeah.
I'd rather be a work.
Yeah. I would rather it be a work too. But I mean, I don't know. I guess at the same time though, still like they could still, if they want to, play this like, we messed up. We're sorry. You know, we messed up. We shouldn't have even remotely threatened to release him. We messed up. We're sorry. Here you go. I mean, I feel like I don't know. I'm kind of one of those that feels like admitting they messed up is better than just flat out saying, it's part of the show. If you're gonna play it off, play it. If you're gonna play it off, play it off. Say, dude, we're sorry. we brought him back because, you know what I'm saying, hey, you spoke up. And here he is. We brought him back. I'd rather you say that than just, you know, Triple H, you know, it's all part of the show. And no, don't say that. Don't say that. Say you effed up. Just say you effed up and keep it pushing. You save a little face. Just say you effed up.
No. I love his response. And maybe I'm throwing a little too much like rose petals at Triple H right now. And maybe I'm wrong. But I love how he said it's all part of the show. It leaves it ambiguous. It leaves it.
I guess.
Does he mean it's a work, or does he mean it was kayfabe? So I like his response. People don't. And when I look at the wrestling community right now and the way they've reacted, people they don't like to not know, because part of being a mark now is the fact that you are in, you know what's going on. And now that people kind of don't know a little bit, it kind of freaks them out a little bit. And I kind of like that. I don't want to know.
Honestly, if I can interject real quick.
Yeah.
What made wrestling so great through the golden age and the Attitude Era, the NWO era, and even in the early times before the internet really came into fruition, was if somebody came out with a dirt sheet, you thought they was a liar. Like, people thought that Dave Messer for a long time, he was a liar. Like, he's lying. Because the thing was, you wanted to believe what you saw on the television show. And if they were emotionally distraught about playing on their emotions, I would have hated what they would have went through back during the golden era when they broke Dusty Rhodes' arm. Well, broke Dusty Rhodes' arm live on national television, because I'm like, that's a part of wrestling, is getting your heartstrings and your brain strings pulled on. It's just like, it's a soap opera.
Oh, the Shawn Michaels, I lost my smile.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
it's really, it's just like, and shout out to PSP. R-Truth does have a lot of energy for someone in his 50s. We're going to get to your next question in a minute, PSP. Shout out to PSP, over 110K. Hey, salute, brother. But I have to say this. Kayfabe, look, you're not a true wrestling fan if you cannot sit back and enjoy this moment of kayfabe. That's a part of wrestling. I'm sorry that we've gotten spoiled. I'm sorry that it has turned from the curtain being pulled back so far that we can see what they're serving for concessions every day. But this is kayfabe. This is part of the carnival.
I just want to point out one thing before you continue. Just before this, people were complaining about how that all the wrestling fans were complaining about how they were pulling the curtain back too much. Mind you, everybody's complaining about that. But I want to be kept in the dark. And now they're kept in the dark and they don't know what the truth is. And now they're complaining about that too. Sorry, champ. I just wanted to point that out. You continue.
Exactly. And I'm glad you interrupted and said that, because the thing is, that's a part of kayfabe. I mean, that's all a part of kayfabe. That's the reason why we love the Undertaker, and we're loving the fact that, you know, he's letting a lot of his guards down now that he's away from the business, because he was so guarded at one point. There was a time where if you knew, when I was in elementary school, if you knew a wrestler's real name, that was something.
Dude.
When I found out that Stone Cold Steve Austin's real name was Steve Williams, I was like, wait a minute. We already have a Steve Williams. Dr. Death, that's not Steve Williams. Steve Williams is Dr. Death. So
I just want to point out that when I was a kid growing up, and I thought Shawn Michaels was the coolest dude ever, and when I found out his last name was Hickenbottom.
Yeah, and then when I found out, I didn't look.
That didn't make me feel good.
Yeah, and then I found out, and come to find out, I thought Triple H was really rich. He wasn't rich. He was, well off, but he wasn't rich, but,
I think one of my favorite questions I've ever seen Taker get is that how many people still ask him that if him and Kane are legit brothers still, and people still ask him that.
That was, but that's what you want. That's what wrestling is a part of. Kayfabe. It's like, damn, y'all ain't brothers for real, but y'all, I mean, but they still act like it. It's just like they still on the podium.
To this day.
Oh man,
I will stand on business. To this day, I still feel the greatest story ever told was the relationship between the Undertaker and Kane. I still feel to this day it is the greatest story ever told, just because of like where they started, and then just the growth, and then just the ultimate, just finally like being up there in their careers, and just that ultimate, just full final acceptance of each other. To now they're like if they like, it got to a point where it was just like, we stand on business with each other. We will burn this sucker down for each other.
I just want to say, so I love the fact that they were so deep into that. So now I remember, for a while, because remember Kane was left burning in the family house. Okay. And Undertaker thought he burned alive. Do you remember that Kane couldn't speak at first and he had to use that thingy? Boy, they went hard with that. And then all of a sudden that thing went away. See, I just, like, for instance, look, the Shawn Michaels, I lost my smile. In the actual backstory, he got his ass whipped at a bar by a bunch of Marines.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, they beat him to death.
Oh, okay. They're starting the Night of Champions tonight. The Queen of the Ring.
Yeah,
they got a fatal 4-way of Rhea, Liv, Kyrie, and Roxanne Perez.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's tonight?
Yeah.
That's tonight.
And they have a 4-way. Yeah, and then they have a 4-way of Braun Breaker. They just showed it. Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio,
Sami Zayn,
and Penta?
Penta,
I think.
No,
bro. And this match was added last minute.
Yeah.
Can I say? Look. A side note: like Chad Gable went from a year ago basically being a high. I would say at the highest that he was at was a high mid-card, low main event if he squeaked in. So now he's a comedy act. But dude has embraced it completely. And I thought he was going to be irrelevant. And he is, this is great work. He's doing such great work right now. I love it. He's doing awesome work.
Did you see the match at Worlds Collide with him and Hio Del Vikingo?
No, but I heard it was
amazing. You better watch it.
Yeah, I heard it was great.
You man, get on YouTube and watch that match.
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, he wrestled in Worlds Collide. Then he wrestled in Money in the Bank.
Yep.
That is an early WWE Match of the Year candidate. Whoa, man, watch it.
Man,
it was that good.
Go back to Chris P's question. Thoughts on R-Truth calling Triple H cap? What do y'all think about that?
I think it's part of work.
Either way, I think it's quality and it's great for the angle. Like if it's legit, it adds to the legitimacy. If it's a work, it makes it like it keeps you on the edge. So I think it was great. Just from the standpoint is keep you on the edge. I thought it was awesome.
I've been one of the people that has always said that I've always said that I wanted to go, but as much as I love knowing, like one of my favorite things is turning on like a round table of wrestlers and them telling stories. Like I love that. It's one of my favorite things. I would go
Excuse me.
on what I know now it's Peacock. Before it was like WWE Network, and one of my favorite things is like the round tables they have where you got Mean Gene or JR or whoever, and they're all and you got Ric Flair who's drunk, and they're all just kind of yapping and stuff. And I love that kind of stuff. But at the same time, though, I look, the reason why wrestling is special is because it keeps your inner child alive. It's why wrestling has survived for as long, pro wrestling has survived as long as it is, because it's literally like me taking my daughter to SummerSlam or Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, like it's passed down. And it, as an adult, I want to suspend my belief. Like, make me emotional, make me pull me into this. Again, it's like watching a movie right in front of you, but with wrestling.
Yeah.
Treat me like I'm 10. I don't want to know. I love that we're debating this, but I want that to be a work. Like, look, dude, to me, one of the only times where I've ever seen where the crowd, where it was not a work, was when Vince let Matt Hardy go after the Edge and Lita Matt Hardy thing.
Mm.
And the Montreal Screwjob.
Those are the only two that I go like, all right, that wasn't work. I still believe that the whole Rock and Cody thing last year, or the prior wrestling lead up to the WrestleMania 40, I believe that most of that was a work. Most of it, not all, but most of it. I think most of it. I really do, because I don't know. I just, or maybe I just choose to believe it is. I don't know.
Hey, whether you choose, in the great words of Big Boy and Andre 3000, play as if you choose it. You better make sure you don't abuse it, and we'll leave it there. Is this R-Truth or Ron Killing's farewell tour along with Cena? Do y'all believe that this is his farewell tour?
Yes, I do. I think at this point in his career, the fact that now I do legit feel he asked to be Ron Killings for this run. I do legit feel he wanted to do it, because I think he just wanted to give the WWE universe a peek at the other side, and just to see what he could do without the comedy and all that other stuff. I legit think he did ask for that. But yeah, I think with him, I think he's like 53 now. So yeah, I definitely think this is like his last kind of. I think this is going to be his last hurrah. So yeah, definitely, I think this is farewell tour.
I'm a little surprised that Truth didn't come out when Cena came out.
I think they're gonna let him talk. I think they're gonna let him talk.
Just let him talk, and that's it.
I think that's what I think they're gonna let him talk. I think they're gonna want to establish this before they just let him get going in the ring. I think they want to establish this, because I think Ron Killings is something. The WWE hasn't seen Ron Killings. They've seen K Quick. They've seen R-Truth. They have not seen Ron Killings. So I think they want to put this out there as being a whole different realm from what they're used to. I think they're gonna let him talk.
Because I said it last week that I thought that this was when they quote unquote released him, that was his swan song, was to main event Saturday Night to main event, and that was kind of it. That's what I thought. So I am that this is his. Again, my theory was, how do you keep John Cena heel? You put him against somebody that's more beloved in a purer way than him, which is R-Truth. Everybody loves R-Truth. Nobody hates R-Truth. There are people that legit hate Cena, even before everybody loves R-Truth. So it's a beautiful way to expand the Cena heel run. And on top of it, yeah, exactly. Ron Killings is 53 years old. What a beautiful way to go out than going against the, one of the, however you want to lay out your Mount Rushmore, one of the debatable Mount Rushmore wrestlers ever. So I'm all for this. However this is a work or kayfabe or I love it. I'm curious as how they're playing Rollins and Punk and this with Night of Champions and then Money in the Bank. And then I do think Rollins doesn't hold on to that briefcase long.
I don't think so either. Cause like part of me was thinking they might let him cash in on Jade Knight. I don't think so yet, but I think it's coming. And I'm gonna go ahead and make a hot take kind of pipe bomb prediction.
Okay.
Seth Rollins will be the world heavyweight champion going into SummerSlam.
Oh, I agree. Oh, that's 100%.
I think it's only fitting when you have a stable that's that powerful and that strong. And you have two very, very big time enforcers with you and a Paul Heyman. This is the modern day version of Evolution. The only difference between them and Evolution is it's not the real they're not the real flashy version. They are straight to the point. They're not the guys who are going to the Ferrari sales. Remember, because when Evolution was out, they went to a Ferrari sale. They went to a wine tastings. They went to the New York Knicks game and sat courtside to show off the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? They got off the chopping the helicopters, things of that nature. And I'm not gonna lie, this is the first stable that I've seen. Maybe y'all can kind of put it into perspective. While I've seen two big time enforcers, usually you see one guy who is the main star. You see a young guy who's real, real agile. Then you have the powerhouse. This is the first one I've seen with like two enforcers. I've never seen a stable with two huge, big time enforcers. Maybe the Nation of Domination, but still, when you talk about who is the enforcer, you look no further than Mark Henry when it was near its end. But yeah, I think that when you have a stable that powerful, you have to have a champion within that stable. If everybody's not a champion.
Well, this is the first stable I've seen. I agree with you from the standpoint that they have two enforcers. This is the first stable I've seen probably in maybe ever, definitely a while, where they both. I think the end game is to make both of them main eventers. The end game is to make a main eventer out of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, even though they're both enforcers. I think that's the end game for both of them. Is to be competing, is for both of them to be competing for world championships at some point. We know Braun Breaker's the future. People need to stop sleeping on Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed is an amazing athlete at 330 pounds, and his mic work severely underrated. So I think the end game is to take both of them and make them like future, like big time names. Because yes, they both. I feel like they both can be like super bordering megastars in the next few years.
I like what they did too, because I thought they were going to put. I thought they were going to push Braun Breaker to the moon right away. I actually like them taking a step back and putting him in something like this to let him grow more instead of just shoving it down our throats. Like, just ease, take your time. You still have so many people at the top of the card right now. You still got Roman and Cena and Punk and Rhodes and everything else. Like, just everybody take your time. And so And same thing with Bronson Reed. Like they are in the perfect spot right now to just.
They really are.
And now you basically set up two future feuds for Rollins, or at least one. So, and Rollins is such a great worker, he'll make anybody a star. So
exactly.
So just I love this. Champ, you're right. They got to put the title on. And as much as I feel that the Jey Uso hate is overblown and just it's cheap heat for the internet. I
hate to say they got to do it tonight because I love Jey Uso, but I'm starting to think they got to do it tonight.
I think so too.
I think they got to do it tonight. I do, and I hate it for Jey. I hate it for Jey because the Jey Uso hate is so goddamn forced. It's not even funny. Like, people are trying to talk about how trash he is and all this other stuff. I'm like, where were you? Where were y'all when the Usos were basically dominating the SmackDown Live tag division for the better part of 2 or 3 years and putting on ridiculous matches? Where were you during the friggin'? Where were you doing the Thunderdome COVID era where Jey Uso basically leveled up like tenfold, being the right-hand man to Roman Reigns and putting out ridiculously really good one-on-one matches, and nobody was talking about that. Now all of a sudden, now it's like he's trash and all this other stuff. I'm like, this is what I've said. I feel like he's wrestling as a babyface. He's wrestling as like the underdog. He's wrestling from adversity. He's having the comebacks and having to fight back. He's not wrestling like he was as the right-hand man, Jey Uso, where he was a heel and maybe had a little more freedom to do this or do that and do that. He's being booked as a babyface. Wrestling as a babyface and wrestling as a heel are not. They're just not the same. They're not the same. And the hate is just, and the Uso hate is just, it's forced.
No, I don't disagree with the forced hate, but I do think that his in-ring ability has gotten very sloppy. Like, I even think Braun Breaker's spear right now is like looking more and more ridiculous, and I don't even mean in a good way. Now he's just like running real fast and just going yee into people, and it's like, did you see
the one camera angle? They showed a camera angle of Braun hitting that spear on El Grande Americano. I swear to God, he literally floated 10 feet.
I know, but it doesn't even look like a spear now. It looks like he's just like, it's like the Jey Uso spear. It doesn't look like a spear. It just looks like you're flying into the person. It looks like a dive. It looks like a suicide dive from the inside of the ring to outside of the ring. That's what it looks like. Like, please do a spear. Like, don't be sloppy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I believe that a lot of wrestlers, they're beloved when they're the underdog. But once they get that strap on them, people want to see them evolve into something else. When you see guys, that's like I believe a lot of guys who we kind of praise as kids, they never really got that spot. Like, can you imagine Hacksaw Jim Duggan as a WWE champion?
No.
Nah.
Can you imagine? You could imagine Ricky Steamboat as the WWE champion. But a lot of guys who we grew up as, they had that underdog mentality. And I think that's what hurts Sami Zayn a little bit. Because it's just like, yeah, you've been this underdog this entire time, but now you have proven that you're a big dog, especially that knockdown, drag-out match that you had with Roman Reigns right before WrestleMania. And it's like, okay, how do you evolve from being the underdog to believing and making the people believe that now you a big dog?
That's why Michaels was so good.
Yes, it's because it's just like once he became the underdog and then he became the big dog, he legitimately went up against the big dogs. Remember, during his title reign in '96 alone, he fought arguably one of the greatest of all time, Bret Hart, won the title from him. Mankind. He beat Diesel. Beat Vader. Beat Yokozuna. And he had to face Sid Vicious at the Survivor Series.
Yep.
So he had to run the gauntlet to make people believe I'm not just an underdog, I'm a big dog. So that's what happens with a lot of these wrestlers that were underdogs, but then when they finally get the strap, there's a lot of hate to them because it's just like, okay, you're not the underdog anymore. It's kind of like, and I hate to make this analogy, but it's the truth. It's kind of like a real big dude. He been big all his life. Now he finally loses weight and gets muscle on him, but he's still walking around with these little loose ass sweatsuits on. It's like, bro, you're not fat anymore. What are you doing? You get what I'm saying? And I hate to make that analogy, but that's how it is. It's like, bro, you're not what you were a year ago. You are better than that. So why you keep falling into these little cycles of trying to be the underdog still when you need to evolve? I think that's where the hate comes from.
But I'll say this though, with Sami Zayn, and I think you did y'all illustrated kind of the difference a little bit between Shawn Michaels and Sami Zayn. They actually allowed Shawn Michaels to beat the big dogs. They still ain't really done that with Sami Zayn. Yeah, I mean, okay, you beat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Okay, you beat Braun at Money in the Bank. Everybody knew Braun was gonna beat that man at SummerSlam. So I mean, I feel like in Sammy's case, if you want him to evolve, you got to let him beat some of them at some point.
Yeah, but that's kind of the problem. I think, like, you look at like Daniel Bryan's Yes Run. Okay. And then when he won the title, like, they put him against Kane, and it just was flat. I don't know why, but that was kind of the same thing. Like, once he won the title, like, the journey to get the title was the fun part. It's like when Sting won the title from Hogan. Like, Sting won the title, and it was kind of like, well, now what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now what? Now what do you do? Well, now it's like that, and I think that's what people get a little, like, soured on. It's why I was such a staunch defender of Cody's run this past year, because it's so hard, because everybody will cheer you on that journey to get the brass ring. And as soon as they get it, they turn on you. And they say it's boring.
Sports mimics life.
Yeah. Oh, dude, my boy is a perfect example. Go back.
Yeah, I was about to say that, Tom.
If you're old enough to remember what the 01 Patriots were, that was the lovable underdog. The coming off of 9/11, the Patriots, the lovable underdog, the sixth round draft pick. You
too, going on stage showing the American flag. I know.
Yeah, like, dude, everybody, and the Rams were the hated dynasty, or the dynasty to be that everybody didn't want to see, and everybody wanted to see the doughboy, with the dimples in his chin and his cheeks. Like, look, and dude, took about 2 minutes, and then everybody hated them. Like,
bro, I would never forget that transformation. It's like the first 2 years. The first 3 Super Bowls, I say the first 3 Super Bowls, it was like the lovable underdogs. Like, because to be honest with you,
by the third one, people started to turn.
Even in the third one,
it was the third one.
Even the third one, I was happy that they beat the Philadelphia Eagles, because I wasn't, I've talked about this on PSP, so I was not the biggest T.O. fan in the world. He was great, but I wasn't T.O., but I really didn't like him. But I really didn't think they was going to win any of those Super Bowls. I thought the Rams, they was going to go out there and get. I thought the Rams, they was going to go out there and get killed. I thought when they played the Panthers, the Panthers would beat the crap out of people. They had one of the best defensive lines in Super Bowl history at that point. They had Mike Rucker, Brinson Buckner, who is from Columbus, by the way. Then they had Chris Jenkins, and then you had Julius Peppers. Then you had Steve Smith. They had a plethora of weapons on the offensive side of the ball as well. They had Stephen Davis, Marshall Muhammad, Steve Smith. Then they beat them. Then they finally get to Philadelphia. They faced Brian Dawkins, one of the best secondaries in the league. They faced them. I'm like, they're not going to win this. There's no way that T.O. is going to allow them to beat them. I'm like, we're going to have to see T.O. get a ring, and that's going to be him just doing his thing all over the. Yeah, I thought it was going to. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, they're going to win this. It wasn't.
I ain't gonna lie. The Rams is the only Super Bowl out the first three. I did not pick them.
I actually predicted the ending of the first one against the Rams. I thought they would be. I didn't think they would beat Carolina, and I knew they were going to beat the Eagles because that 04 Patriots team was nasty. That was a damn good football team.
Yeah, that was real good. It wasn't until I believe 2006 when the hate started. And then it trickled on over into 2007. Then they went undefeated. And then everybody said,
and then you had Spygate.
Yeah.
Which added to it.
Yeah, you had Spygate in like 2006. And then it was just like the Patriots going undefeated. It was like them just sticking it to the entire league. And I'm like, when are these guys gonna lose? I mean, I wish that they could go back. And I wish that I could check the ratings for that season with the New England Patriots because we was just waiting on them to lose. I'm like, they're gonna lose this week. They're gonna lose when they. I'm talking, especially when they play Indianapolis. They're gonna lose this week. They're gonna lose,
man.
Yeah, we got
man, and that. You gotta go ahead and finish it.
I never forget. I was in the Army at this time. We got like week 14. I was in Fort Stewart. We got like week 14. It's like these mofos ain't lost yet. They ain't lost yet. So it's just like we get to the playoffs. I'm like, okay, they gonna lose. No, all right, they gonna lose this one. No, and then finally, it's just like everybody would just breathe a sigh of relief, like, oh, they finally lost. But yeah, when you are great, you become hated for no reason. The only person I've never seen that happen to, it happened inorganically. They tried to force the hate on him. The only person I did not see that happen to was Michael Jordan. I really didn't see that happen to Michael Jordan.
Didn't really happen to Montana either.
It really didn't happen to Montana either. Those two. But the hate that got forced on them was kind of inorganically forced because remember when Jiminy Greek went on live television and right before the Super Bowl, they had tested positive. He tried to say that Joe Montana and Dan Marino, they tested positive for Mary Jane. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he tried to say that during that Super Bowl because they didn't want the ratings to drop. They didn't suspend them both. But yeah, they tried to take
that back. I will say that 80s stars didn't 80s and into the early 90s didn't because Gretzky didn't get that hate either.
He did during the trade, I will say. Some of them, a lot of people
that's true.
During the trade.
That's true.
Because of the trade. And they ridiculed him and they ridiculed his wife. They ridiculed a little bit of everybody. They called his wife a Jezebel because she was trying to have an acting career and she never went into acting.
No.
That was the thing. She never went into acting. They thought that she was influencing him to go to Los Angeles because she wanted to act. But it was just, that wasn't the case. I'd never forget that. That was this was prior to social media. I will say this because the thing is, when something is in front of your face all the time, you try to find a way to build narrative. Back then, I will say this: sports was about sports. It wasn't necessarily about a narrative.
Y'all keep talking. I'll be right back.
All right. It wasn't necessarily about a narrative that was trying to be created. You knew who the MVP. Now, the narrative was created around sports, but you didn't have a drama unless the drama was brought into it. Like you didn't really see a lot of until like Lawrence Taylor tested positive for something. You didn't really see, all of the tabloids of every little small thing that he was doing. Like I'll give you an example, like the whole Stephon Diggs, Cardi B situation. You really did. If Lawrence Taylor was in modern day times, they would eat him alive. All the fun he was having, they would eat him alive. Because of all the stuff that was going on. showing up late for a game, and you know that would have been front page news.
Dude, the media didn't report on stuff like that. The media did a lot of covering for, you know, athletes, politicians, and stuff like that. That was a different time period. Like, you can go back to, like, you know, there's stories about Babe Ruth that a lot of people kept under wraps for years. Like, because, you know, I mean, look at how they treated Kennedy. Look at how all the stuff that came about JFK after he, like, the media was a different animal back in the day than it is now. You know,
it's more reality TV based than now.
Yeah, it's reality TV based. You got the 24-hour news cycle. You know,
everybody want to be first to cover some.
Yeah. They would. Lawrence Taylor. Oh, good Lord.
Lawrence Taylor would have been fried. Mike Tyson would have been fried. A lot of the guys who we looked up to growing up would have been fried. I mean, Jerry Rice, you know, there was a reputation on him in San Francisco, the fact that he was you know, kind of prickly at times. You know, he really wasn't a team guy. When he got on the field, he was a team guy, but he wasn't really around the team off the field. But, you know, yeah, that was in this 24/7 news cycle, it's something all the time. But when to your point, back to your point, when you are great, you are hated. And these days they're going to find a way. Look on social media all the time. Somebody can be talking straight facts, even when that's why I stay away from the dark side of TikTok. Somebody could be speaking straight facts on something. I'm talking about got the facts lined up, the stat sheet. And this, I don't just talk about pure sports. Got the stat sheet and everything, and they will eat somebody alive for that. You know, and try to bring an opinion in it that really don't have anything to do with sports. But I got to ask you this question, man. Is this the beginning of the end of wrestling as we know it, with TKO being $3 billion in debt? I'm talking about $3 billion with a B, not million, billion. Are we seeing the beginning of the end of wrestling? Because remember the last time a company was in debt, they went out of business. So that being WCW, a lot of other wrestling companies. But what do y'all think?
No, look, I don't like the corporatization of WWE right now. There are certain things I don't like. The ticket. Oh, motherfucker! Oh,
he done hit some.
No, the cat decided to try and crawl up my lap and use his claws. Thanks, Flash.
The cat named Flash too?
Yeah.
Well, damn. And that's on.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry for the. Anywho, what was I going to say? Or what was I talking about? I don't like the corporatization right now of WWE. Currently, I think it's. I don't like all the ads. I'm not a big fan of. You know, I do like some of like the aspects of expanding some of their meat. I don't know. I don't like it right now. But to say that it's the death of wrestling, people have been calling for the death of wrestling forever. Wrestling has its highs and lows and always has. It'll go through a real high where it's very popular in mainstream culture, and then it'll die off again. And then it'll come back up. So I don't know. I don't think this is the death of it. Now, to be fair, this is a little different than before. You know, let me expand on this question. Is the floated out random articles of the power struggle between Triple H and The Rock backstage, do we think that that's a work, or is that kayfabe? Because you got Jonathan Coachman going on some random podcast talking all like he knows everything that's going on. Is that a work, or is that kayfabe? Where are we here? Because that's kind of the Triple H, the purity of wrestling, The Rock, the corporate Rock thing. Is that leaning into the stuff that's going on? Or, Bear F, what do you think? Are they leaning into thing?
For one, this is why I hate Triple H can't wrestle anymore. because Triple H versus The Rock one more time would sound so good if Triple H was healthy and wasn't rocking the pace and wasn't rocking a defibrillator right now. It would be amazing. Honest, I don't know. Part of me doesn't want to think there's validity to it because I mean, Triple H and The Rock got to have like mad respect for each other. They had one of the best rivalries of the 2000s. I mean, there's got to be like some mad respect there for each other. But I don't know, man. The Rock, you know, we love The Rock. Dwayne Johnson might be a different animal. You know, Cena said it multiple times in his promos. You know, Dwayne Johnson might be a different cat from The Rock. We don't know how he rock. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, him being with TKO and all this other stuff. I mean, I hope there's not validity to it, but I mean, you hear the rumbling about him as a person. I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna put anything past it, to be honest with you.
Especially all the movies he done ruined.
What'd you say?
Especially all the movie franchises he ruined. But
here's the thing: if that's legit, if there's legit like backstage like power struggles, and they're legit trying to push out Triple H, you will see the death of this company. I shouldn't say the death of this company, but you will see the slide down of this company. Because right now, I think Nick Khan, Stephanie, Tripp, and Paul Heyman are the main, and then you got your producers behind the scenes, are of the old guard that are keeping the wrestling of this alive. If they are pushed out, that's a problem. Which is the thing that I got worried about. As much as Vince was past his time, when Vince sold it, the thing that I remember talking to a friend of mine, I said, this worries me because now this is a corporate business. It's not
much like WCW.
Yep, it's a corporate business now. It's not a family-owned one. And there's a big difference. And so I think that's why people right now are very
holding our collective breath.
Okay. Am I the only one that's not? I'm just not into her at all.
Ooh,
yeah, you're the only one.
Am I? Okay, I'm just not into
you are. You are. You are. You are.
I don't know. I love Stephanie McCourt. I just think I don't know. I just think Roxanne Perez, I think Roxanne Perez is kind of meh.
No, she's not meh. But I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion, but no.
I mean, is she better than Feathers? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's better than Feathers.
But still you have to look at all of these NXT call-ups that have been called up. Like you're looking at Lyra, you're looking at her, you're looking at Julia, you're looking at Stephanie, and you have to really people got to understand that the talent of all four of those. So it's like saying one's better than the other, that ain't saying much when you think about how good they all are. And it's like we're hooked on Stephanie right now. Stephanie's like the it girl right now, and understandably and deservedly so. But before Stephanie got this rise, this meteoric rise, that was Roxanne. Before Stephanie just shot up. But this was Roxanne. Roxanne was Stephanie before Stephanie. So, I mean, Roxanne is every bit the future of the women's division as Stephanie Vaquer is. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I
don't know what to think. The thing is, when these corporate, I always say this, man, and I could be wrong. When the corporate aspect of wrestling takes over, I always live in fear of that. Because every time that it has taken over, it has ended in flipping disaster. I'm just going to be very, very honest with you. when when these big corporations took over WCW, you saw this revolving door of creative team. You saw how, look, if you want and just a summary of what people think about corporate wrestling, look no further than Jim Cornette. Because he always said when corporations took over wrestling, that was the downfall of it. And then I'll never forget, there was another guy that was a part of the creative team in WCW, whose father, Eddie Graham, who I think he passed away. And he said the minute that him and Eric Bischoff went to a meeting one time, and the powers that be, not the powers that be Vince Russo, but the powers that be during the first WCW, when they first took over Jim Crockett Promotions, they said, why are the ratings down? He said, well, here's the thing. When wrestling was run by Gerald Briscoe and all of those guys, the stakeholders there, the ratings wasn't down. When wrestling was run by all the other guys, the ratings wasn't down. When wrestling was run by Jim Crockett Promotions, then the ratings wasn't down. When it was run by Dusty Rhodes, it was down. The minute y'all took over and y'all started implementing all of this corporate stuff, that's when the ratings went down. And he scared. And Eric Graham said, he said, I can remember Eric Bischoff's face like shaking because he thought he was about to lose his job. But that's the thing about corporations. You're no longer an entrepreneur. It's kind of like, us. He imagined a corporation taking us over, and now we can't do pipe bombs anymore. Flash can't be Flash anymore. BRF can't be BRF anymore. It's like, well, damn, you just took half of what. Look at you. The
right damn corporation better buy us, because god dang it, they better let us be us.
No, I'm just saying. Can you imagine?
I hear what you're saying.
If a corporation took over, if a corporation took us over, and they said, okay, Stefan, no more pipe bomb. But y'all know my real name already. Stefan, no more pipe bomb. Flash, no more of these off the wall jokes. BRF, no more blooper alert when you hear Champ say a joke. It's like, bro, y'all just took away like half the crap that we don't.
You took the ratings away, damn you.
But that's what everybody. We were just talking about it last week. How that's what everybody's afraid of with inside the NBA. Right now,
I mean, with the NBA,
I am petrified of them going to ESPN. I am so scared.
That's what everybody's afraid of. Is that ESPN, or when somebody gets a hold of something like that, that's something that is genuine and pure, and then they're like, well, we don't want you to do this and pull back on that and do this and do that, and it is like, and it always goes bad, and so I just. It's always when insurance and lawyers get involved, then it's always a problem.
Plus standards and practices and things of that nature. You got to think about that. Everybody wants to be super friendly now. And, a lot of creative people. Remember Jim Hurd, when he first took over, I'll never forget what Ric Flair said. He said, I'll never forget when Jim Hurd took over. He said he wanted me to shave my head. He wanted me to put an earring in my ear. He wanted me to call me Spartacus. He said, you can imagine how well that took over. And the thing is, before Jim Hurd, before Jim Hurd took over WCW, when Ted Turner bought it, guess what he was? He was the general manager at Domino's.
Oh, good Lord.
No, I'm serious. Go back and look at it. Jim Hurd was a Domino's Pizza general manager before he took over as the president of WCW.
I'm not surprised.
Domino's, if you hear us, we want to try your stuffed crust pizza. We want it on the house. Promote.
Yeah, we'll do it, and we'll taste it live too. You know what I'm saying?
We sure will. We surely will.
Hey man, meat lovers, stuffed crust. You know what I'm saying? Extra sauce. You know what I'm saying?
I did not get the way I am right now without being picky. I'm just saying.
Hey man, just give us 3 pizzas. We good.
That's all we need.
Yeah, we'll eat. We'll eat one every week.
We sure will. with pride too. Pride too.
Domino's, if you hear us, you know what I'm saying? Slide us.
Pay us to eat. You pay us to eat it, boy. We'll go all in. We'll go all in.
Quick question, real quick. I know y'all are not gonna be happy about this, but I had to throw this in the show. Thoughts on WrestleMania being in Vegas for the second year in a row?
This is the core position I don't like. Nobody liked it. That's the stupid thing.
It wasn't good this year.
Good. No, it wasn't.
It wasn't good. Unless you're banking on a vast improvement, which the chances is there because the roster, you got more additions to the roster, and I mean it's like you got a shot for it to be better. But this was the worst WrestleMania since it went 2 nights.
Now
worst.
I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. This isn't the first time that WWE has had it in the same location multiple times. They did it in Trump. They back in the day, they did it in Trump Plaza multiple times. They've done it in other places. So this isn't like the first rodeo. It just, here's the thing. And Champ, you pointed this out a couple weeks ago when we were talking about, or back when WrestleMania happened, we talked about it. And Vegas ain't what it used to be.
No, it's not. And the thing is,
afford it.
No. And the thing is, why would you put that in Vegas? Vegas is kind of dying a slow and painful death. Everything is not as it once were. It's not that attraction, that sports attraction that it once was. Even during the Super Bowl, I thought it was like, well, once we get to the Super Bowl, Vegas will improve. But once we even got to the Super Bowl, it was just like, damn, Vegas is.
In all the places you could have went if you were going to keep it in the United States. Call me a homer for my state. You got Mercedes-Benz Stadium right there. You have Dallas, you have Houston, you have LA, you have New York, you could have let it stay in New Orleans if you wanted to. All these places right there that have had good to great to all-time great WrestleManias.
I mean, you could have made history
only to go back to Vegas where you probably had your worst 2-night WrestleMania since it started.
Well, you probably could have. Hell, if you even wanted to be, even more, you could have did the first WrestleMania to go overseas and go to London. London.
You got Wembley Stadium right there.
Yeah, that would have been a great thing. And if you don't believe that's an attraction, Guns N' Roses and Public Enemy is over there killing it right now. Yes, I listen to Guns N' Roses. Sue me. But,
AEW got 64,000 in that building. What do you think WrestleMania would do?
Exactly. So yeah, AEW sold out Wembley.
Yeah. I think they reported like 72.
Wow. Yeah, WrestleMania would have probably would have had.
WrestleMania can get 6 figures in Wembley.
Yeah, they probably would have built people on. They probably would have had to build seats on top of the arena for WrestleMania.
WrestleMania would add seats for that, and that one exactly.
Yeah, so I think that they did do a good job of that. I think that this is a corporate. I think this is a real Dana White-esque type of move. All the fights got to be in darn Vegas. It's like, bro, don't nobody want to go to darn Vegas no more. I mean, I'm just being real. If Vegas was still the attraction that it was 10 years ago, and even before COVID, it would have made sense. But now, since it's not that attraction that it once was, it's like, no. It's like, why would you put it back in Vegas when? And number two, you had the same problem back at WrestleMania 9. You couldn't get the tickets to sell fast enough. No. This year there was problems with selling the tickets.
They had the same. I think they had the same problem with the Money in the Bank show. They had to move it to a smaller venue.
Yeah. So, and that's what goes back to my question. Is this the end of wrestling? Because as we know, because remember, as they transitioned from the golden era to the new generation era, which was the lost, which is what I like to call the lost era. As they transitioned from that era, remember they had to go from doing stadiums and they went back to the smaller arenas. That's another reason why I asked that question.
But for every Vegas, there's still in LA, there's still a Dallas, there's still in Atlanta, there's still a Miami, there's still a New Orleans. For every Vegas where a show goes bad, you still got about 5 or 6 other big time cities that they'll WWE tear that city down. So now we ain't gonna say death of wrestling, because for every Vegas, there's still a bunch of cities that would tear WrestleMania down.
I mean, look, if you want WrestleMania to sell out, I'm just gonna be real. Move it to the South. I'm gonna just be real. Don't
People
look.
think we crazy, but it's the truth.
No disrespect to our northern brethren, but I'm gonna tell you something. You want a show to sell out as far as a wrestling show? Bring it to the South.
Dude, just go back to Philly.
Huh?
Go back to
Philly. Philly WrestleMania was amazing.
Philly WrestleMania was a problem.
Go back to that pop when Taker's gong hit. That's an outdoor arena, by the way. They were outside. That pop was insane. So,
some of the best pops.
It's not just
some of the
best, but you got New York, Philly, Boston, Chicago. Like, Chicago's a great city to have.
Chicago's an amazing wrestling town.
Yeah, so there are spots in the north too.
Dallas is a good wrestling town.
Dallas, Houston. Good Lord. Dallas is a great wrestling town.
Especially because of when you think about the history, the Sportatorium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of wrestling history there. That's like I said, bring it to the South. So, I mean,
we got Bailey, folks.
BBL, Bailey. BBL, Bailey.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bailey so slept on for me. I'm sorry. Whew, boy. Okay, brothers. We must stay focused. We must stay focused. Whew, okay.
But yeah, I really think that it being in Vegas, I really think they hustle. In the great words of my father, they kind of hustling backwards on that one. Yeah,
they really are. I mean, here I am when I heard they were taking it out of New Orleans. I'm thinking, when I heard they were taking it out of New Orleans, I'm thinking, okay, London, do it. And then once the rumbling started that it's gonna go to Vegas, I said, well, I'll be damned. They finna go back to Vegas. Ugh.
I was hoping they would do London. I
was praying for London.
That was my hope. I thought, partially because my girlfriend's from London, so I'm like, shit, they're gonna do London. Well,
we got London on the track.
Oh, here he is.
Oh man.
Wait a minute.
We might need to turn the TV up. This one hand.
Oh man, he just snuck through the crowd. But this don't look like the joking version. Like I said, people, we're live. Hold on, guys, real quick. But yeah. Do you think this is going to end up being a fatal 4-way between him, Cena, and those guys?
No. It's got to be. I'm thinking it got to be him, Cena, 1-on-1. Got to be.
But y'all don't think it's going to end up in a fatal 4-way considering the promo we just saw earlier?
Nah.
Okay. While we're listening to R-Truth, what are y'all thoughts on the Money in the Bank ones?
Right ones. I mean, with the men, it was either going to be Seth Rollins and LA Knight, but I think Seth Rollins. I got to shout somebody out on TikTok. If y'all don't follow Hot Take Wrestling, follow Joe. Follow Hot Take Wrestling. He's got really, really good takes, and he pretty much nailed it. Usually the Money in the Bank winners are those that are the most consistent in their character work. Naomi and Seth Rollins have been the most consistent in their character work. Thus,
Well,
they
the
won
other
Money
part
in
of
the
it too
Bank.
is that for both characters, having the briefcase makes sense.
It makes the most sense.
Naomi was I was trying to figure out who's going to win the women's, and I'm like, the only name that I kept coming to is Naomi. Because
it makes the most sense where her character is right now. She's already running at Tiffany Stratton as it is. So why not put the briefcase on her and just let her run amok over all of SmackDown and maybe dip her a little bit on Monday Night Raw every so often just to get Io Sky sweating a little bit. But I mean, ultimately, it's gonna be Tiffany Stratton, and then Seth Rollins. I mean, come on, man. Seth Rollins is trying to literally do a full-on
cutting off his
power
hair.
trip. Oh my God.
He's cutting off his hair. Why is he doing that? Wait a minute. Oh man, he just cut off his hair. Oh man.
Here we go.
There we go.
And nothing but WWE, y'all finna get it now, boy. Oh, y'all finna get it now. I'm telling y'all finna get it. Ooh, they finna get it now. Ooh, they finna get it. Ooh,
I cannot believe it.
Boy, they don't know. They don't woke up now, boy. Ooh.
Wait, did I just see that, bro?
Bro.
How long has R-Truth had hair? He just cut his hair.
I mean, he's had dreads like his entire career.
Yeah.
Like going back to his TNA days, he's always had dreads.
What are y'all thoughts about that promo, man? What y'all think about to happen?
Boy, they done messed around and made a megastar out of a 53-year-old man. Oh boy.
Wow.
Ooh. Wow. That was wow.
I cannot believe he just cut his hair on national television.
Wow.
I'm how do I put this? I'm curious what they're going to do with it because they didn't have him out with Cena at all.
I knew they weren't going to because they didn't want to go down that road yet because they feel like because I really felt like they felt like he deserved that time to shine on his own to show people this is gonna be a serious. This is what I said like at the beginning. The R-Truth we knew, this ain't him. This is a completely different beast.
Yeah.
Man, I cannot believe it. So speaking of now, R-Truth had one of the best promos last week with Jacob Fatu and Solo. But
Solo, I'm gonna take your husky son to the ring. Oh my God.
Oh man.
And if you watch that, you can see Jacob in the background. Homeboy could not keep a straight face to save his life.
He could not. So what do y'all think about the Samoan werewolf betraying Solo Sikoa? And is this truly the end of the bloodline story? And rightfully so.
For now, yes. I still feel like I don't know why I still feel this way. For some reason, I still feel like through the grace of God, I don't know why I still feel like this. Because I'm almost all but out on Roman versus The Rock. I'm almost completely out of it. But there's still like this little flicker of hope that we got to get that one time. But it's like a small flicker of hope. Very small flicker of hope. And I think where it kind of woke me up is like they're starting to talk about The Rock again on TV. So it's like, yeah, I'm almost completely out of it, but I'm gonna give it one more shot. But I think now it might be. But my thing is how they're gonna play it. I think Jacob Fatu has to be the babyface in this. Solo Sikoa has to be the heel in this from the standpoint he's got JC Mateo and he could just try to sick him whenever he wants. So I see some because I saw some articles talking about they like where Solo Sikoa's position and they see him as a babyface upcoming in the future. I'm like, yeah, down the road, yeah, I could kind of see it because he kind of starting to let loose a little bit and you're seeing his humor and you see it in his promos. It's like, okay, he got a little something up, but not right now. Jacob Fatu, you got another potential megastar in Jacob Fatu. Nah, you see what you see now. Now you can see what you got in him. Now you see what you got in him. I think the bloodline right now is over, but it's they don't need to work. They don't need to work with it now. I just don't think it's completely over. Just because I still feel there's that one unturned stone that I hope they get to before it's just completely just done. But like I said, my hope is like that much.
I think they've gone away from Rock. I think they'd do anything. It's going to be Rock Cody.
That's where I'm at now too.
Here's the reason why. I think they look at Roman as a part-time Brock Lesnar attraction level type star, where Cody is the face of the company. I think they made that pivot around WrestleMania 40, that Cody is going to be the guy and the face of the company. And I think Roman's talked about it. He's not going to be doing this forever. So where Cody's a lifer, you know what I'm saying? And maybe I'm wrong about Cody too, but I like Cody. It's in his blood. It's in his family. So if you're going to give that rub to somebody, Roman doesn't need the rub from The Rock anymore. You'd just be finishing a storyline, which I would love to see, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to give that rub to anybody, it's going to be Cody, in my opinion.
I'm glad the bloodline story is over. I think they drew it. The thing is, and the reason why I'm glad it's over is because I don't think they did a good job with building Solo.
No.
Solo should have been like a monster type of heel. I mean, he should have been out here just demolishing guys. And when you have when you're taking over a group from a guy like a Roman Reigns, you have to be twice as ruthless. When The Rock took over the nation from Farouk, he was twice as ruthless.
Oh, yeah.
He was twice as charismatic. And he was the Intercontinental Champion.
Well, you can't keep losing.
Huh?
You can't keep losing.
That's what I'm saying. He was the Intercontinental Champion, and there was a lot of build. And then finally the nation spit off, and you just didn't have any more of it. But the thing is, you have to build Solo as this monster heel, especially when you're taking over a group like the Bloodline. I think my bad.
I was gonna say no. I was just gonna say it also didn't help signing Jacob Fatu either, who's already a bigger star than you. That did not help at all. And then you align Jacob Fatu with Solo Sikoa. People already it's one of those things. This is how I feel about Jacob Fatu. I don't know how Vince would have booked him because he was already self-made and people already knew him, and he already came in with hype. So I don't know how Vince would have booked him. Triple H has booked him to a T, just at the cost of Solo Sikoa.
And
also, well, the other problem is too is that you can't. It's like, for instance, God rest his soul, but Bray Wyatt, Vince done screwed up that character so many times. Like that was the thing. Like when they just fed him to Cena, you can't create a monster like that and have him just lose matches all the time. You can't take it. So once Solo kept losing, and you can't have him beat Cody, he was just in this no man's land. And so unfortunately it just, and then you brought in Jacob Fatu and then it was just over. I mean, there was even there were dirt sheet articles about how they didn't want to bring in Jacob Fatu to overshadow Solo.
And they did, and he did anyway.
And it happened anyways. So yeah, it just is what it is. So, Solo carve out a career. He's good in the ring. He's good in the mic. He's just not going to be like some kind of major player, but he'll have a long, long wrestling career.
Yeah. And like I said, you have to have a major heel like that beat someone and just I'm talking about beating the hell out of people. And that's just the thing. It's kind of like when Arn Anderson spit off from Ric Flair momentarily when Ric Flair left and went to WWE. Arn Anderson was just tearing guys to shreds.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing. When a group leader takes over for his previous predecessor, it's kind of like in the movies. You got to be twice as ruthless. It's kind of like, when Kylo Ren took over and he was, trying to be Darth Vader. Kylo Ren was twice as ruthless. He was twice as snakish. He was twice as cunning. And that's what attracted people to Kylo Ren. He wasn't exactly Darth Vader. He was determined to be better. And that's how come he ended up, and then with the Stoke thing happening, that's what kind of put him over. So that's what needs to happen when you have guys take over groups. You can't have someone take over a group and the leader was ruthless. And now this guy can't even win a match against a mid-card. And I think that's what happened with Solo Sikoa. I mean, not just that. When you have a monster, it's nothing unusual to have monsters in your group. Look at, the New Evolution. They have a monster. They have two monsters in their group, and one is on the verge of being a huge star. They're always looking at that next guy in order to be your spinoff protege. But the thing is, the master of that group has to be so cunning, has to be so raw, has to be so ruthless. Kind of like with Batista and Triple H. Everybody was looking at that group when that group first started off. They said Randy Orton. But the teacher was still just as ruthless. So that's how come Randy Orton couldn't truly go over on it. No matter how great he was in the early stage until he became the Viper. And he just was over the top with his rawness and his ruthlessness. So yeah, that's why I think they messed up with Solo Sikoa. Not to mention them OJ gloves, that just wasn't doing the job, bro. Like,
Spirit fingers.
Not the isotoners.
Dude, once I pointed it out, it's so hard not to look at them.
Yeah, that them OJ gloves, man.
Isotoners.
That what they was called for real, isotoners.
They were called isotoners. They were isotoners.
Okay. Oh, so that's what Kanye got there. So he been controversial.
That's where OJ had isotoners. Yes.
Leave it to Kanye, even back then. But let's move on into the WNBA, man. What do y'all think about the WNBA and this injury bug that's biting the WNBA at this point? Yeah, Paige Beckers, she's been out for the last few games, and Caitlin Clark, she's missed her 5th consecutive game ever since having that quadricep injury that people are kind of pointing at Stephanie White at this point, saying that you was kind of irresponsible for letting her go out there in the first place because you saw what happened in the preseason, because that quadricep was bothering her during the preseason, and people was kind of warning her about it, but instead, she let her play. But so, what are y'all thoughts about the injury bug biting the WNBA at this point with 2 of its biggest stars, and Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark?
I think I kind of feel bad right now for the WNBA because there was so much potential going into this season to expand the league. And I just think that besides just because with the injury bugs, like I'm just gonna be blunt, they're just being made fun of too much. Like there's like quotes coming out from like Brittany Griner and everybody, and ANGELREESE is being made fun of, and then you got the injury bug to Caitlin Clark. And I just, like it's the league is becoming a meme. Like there's more attention for the way that Caitlin Clark looks at Sophia Cunningham than actual basketball. And so I don't know. Am I wrong? You're trying
to be honest with you, there's no. But let me interject this a little bit because I cover it every day. I believe what happened is a lot of things that went into fruition that we expected to happen didn't happen. We expected the Indiana Fever to be contenders. The one of honor so far has been a bust. This team was not the world beaters that we thought they were. And at this point, it's looking like in the WNBA, it's a two-team race. I made this comparison on a TikTok earlier. I made a comparison. It's just like the NBA was back in 2014. It's just like no other team mattered in the NBA at that point other than the Spurs and the Miami Heat. Like you can watch all the games all you want to.
Yeah.
But you knew it was going to be the Spurs and the Heat going just on a two-lane road going into the finals.
Or
you knew
Cleveland and Golden State. You just knew it was going to be those two. Yeah.
Yeah. The Spurs, like I said, the Spurs were pissed off because they had just gotten beat, the Ray Allen legacy shot, what everybody call it. The Spurs were pissed off and they was ready to get back to the finals and try to beat LeBron again. Yeah. And that was the whole thing. Everybody, and the only thing that kind of kept narrative kind of alive was that the Indiana Pacers, they had this real troll of a guy named Lance Stevenson that used to irritate the crap out of LeBron every time. And I thought LeBron was going to swing on that dude at one point. I know I would. You put your hand over my mouth while I'm playing basketball, I'm going to break your leg. I'm just going to be weird with you. So, because, he was just doing all type of flopping and trolling, falling all over the place, breathing all over, he blowing bubbles at LeBron and stuff like that. And that made it entertaining just in the East. In the East, it was a two-person race, but you kind of knew that the Miami Heat was going to beat the Pacers with Paul George and Lance Stevenson and even Roy Hubert on that team. The only difference between that and the WNBA right now is although my guys like myself, BRF, and the hardcore fans, we know who Nafisa Corrier is. We watched the WNBA finals, which was one of the highest rated finals since the early 2000s. We watched it. The problem is they don't have her. They don't advertise them enough in order for the casual fan to know. The biggest mistake that these TV networks and the commissioner and everybody else made is having them sell drama rather than the talent.
But you
And I
can't.
said this a couple weeks ago, because it's only so much that people are going to watch outside of the controversy. Right now, people cannot tell me. The reason I'm always on TikTok talking about the WNBA is because people couldn't tell me who Kiki Ariaffin was. People didn't know that the Washington Mystics had a big three. Well, can potentially have a big three with Georgia Moore, Sonia Citron, and Kiki Ariaffin. I even made the comparison that got me a lot of heat. I mean, that got me a lot of heat. I've even made the comparison that Kiki Ariaffin was better than the Bayou Barbie herself, better than Angel, because she has a mid-range game to die for.
Oh, that's a fact.
Oh, dude, I don't right now. Look,
but I got a lot of heat.
Let's just be honest right now.
You know I got a lot of heat for that, and you know exactly why. We're not going to say that on the air, but you know exactly why. Everybody loves Barbie, and rightfully so. But the thing is, I got a lot of heat for saying Kiki Ariaffin was better than ANGELREESE.
Let's just be. And I made a TikTok video about like right now. ANGELREESE is playing really bad.
Yeah, she's playing bad. She's not
playing
good.
Really
Not
terrible
right
basketball.
now.
So like I think, but I'm gonna what. I'm not gonna try and just dunk on ANGELREESE right now. But to your point about concentrating on the drama, you can do the drama, but then you have to have quality play behind it. And when they pushed Caitlin Clark, ANGELREESE to the forefront, and we all talked about it too. So let's not say that we weren't part of that. We talked about that almost every week, especially going into last year. But when you push that and then it's not quality basketball, people are gonna concentrate on just the drama. And so you didn't have, and this sounds like I'm dogpiling on ANGELREESE right now, but you don't have a quality rivalry. You didn't, the rivalry that we wanted and that we all talked about didn't come to fruition to build the league on, which is what Magic is the reason why we said Magic Bird. The NBA built the foundation was built on Magic and Bird.
Yep. And if I could interject real quick, the thing is this, and I made a video about this earlier. The thing that people didn't count on was this. Indiana already had building blocks in place before Caitlin got there. Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell was an all-star. They are an organization that is about business. When they saw they had something special with Caitlin Clark, the first thing they did is got Kelsey Mitchell re-signed. There was the whole storyline on the offseason. Are they going to get Kelsey Mitchell re-signed? Then they went and got Sophia Cunningham. They went and got a lot of other players, got DeWanna Bonner, and then that put them in championship contention conversations.
Which, by the way, I just want to point out something like that. I don't blame Caitlin Clark for looking at Sophia Cunningham that way, because I think we all look at Sophia Cunningham that way.
But I digress. But anyway, but I mean them legs, but we must stay focused.
We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused.
We must stay focused. But
regardless of how true it is, but keep going.
But the thing is, what we did not count, the thing that made the Magic Bird thing so good was this. Their organizations were hellified.
No.
Their organizations were hellified. The thing is this. The Boston Celtics were a World One organization. The LA Lakers were the World One organization. And the thing is, people don't want to acknowledge this, but guess what? Larry Bird and Magic Johnson got drafted into some championship caliber teams.
They were the missing piece to what they were already doing for each of their franchises, and they took them both over the top.
Exactly. That was the case with Caitlin Clark. That is the case with Caitlin Clark. and the Indiana Fever. That's not the case for Angel Reese and the Sky. Reason being, why in the blank would you trade for Ariel Atkins in this stacked draft class? Why would you do that? Why would you let Kennedy Carter walk in free agency and go to Mexico in order to play ball? That was your leading scorer last year. And on top of that, and we're going to get into this later, you have to face the facts. One of these bigs, either Cardozo or Angel Reese, one of them got to go.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
one of them got to go.
Like again,
because
and I'll beat this drum.
One of them got to go.
What?
One of them got to go. So the thing is, because both of them are playing really on top of each other. Both of them are kind of playing on top of each other. They're the same type of player. And guess what? They're trying to move Angel from power forward to small forward. That's how come you see her doing a lot of
no.
But that dude, they're having her bring up the ball. Why?
Exactly. They're trying to turn her to a point forward than a power.
No.
Whereas Coach Witherspoon, Coach Teaspoon, she had Angel where she really belonged. She was at the power forward position. Cardozo was at the center position. They were really the twin towers. Now they're trying to change Angel to a small forward, which I don't think that experiment is working.
No, and the you can't look.
So it's a lot of things that go into this rivalry that's really making it lackluster. You have an organization that's doing everything they can to make their star, to accommodate their main star and to become a championship caliber team so that they can go to the finals. And you have another team in Chicago, which is just across the damn bridge, that they're doing everything they can to keep themselves down. That's the thing. And it's easy. And the thing is, it's easy to point at Angel because she's the only face of that franchise that they have at this point. But nobody talk about how Ariel Atkins is a bust at this point. She's not playing that well. Nobody talk about Camila Cardozo. She hasn't been playing well, although people will try to bring up the all-rookie team, but she only averaged 9 points a game last year. And this year, it's even worse. So they brought Ariel Atkins in after trading a first-round pick for her in order to get some on-the-wing scoring at this point, some wing defense, and they're the worst defense on the wings in the league at this point. So it stems a little bit more than just Angel at this point. It stems a lot from that organization just not knowing what the blank they're doing at this point, and their stars are suffering because of that. Plus, on the top of that, you're learning a new system under a new coach, and you just got rid of the best coach that's probably for him in the form of Coach Witherspoon, who was developing these players properly. Was at the press conference with them, giving them media training and things of that nature. But the thing is, they fired her. They brought this new guy in, and now he's trying to turn players into something that they are not. Angel is not a small forward. She's a power forward. And it's time to get rid of one of these bigs. You just have to face facts on that.
I don't know. I feel bad because I really feel like the WNBA had a chance coming into this year to be something. And right now, unfortunately, and again, I don't mean, and that's not me saying this, I'm just saying I think the narrative right now around the NBA, it's more of a meme right now than it is. And I'm talking about mainstream. I'm not talking about the people like you guys that follow it on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm purely talking mainstream where you what's up, LA Knight? I see you. Are they going to give it to Sammy, you think? Well, not
I think they're giving it to Sammy. Yeah, they're putting him in the tournament.
Okay.
Ooh, there we go. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
I just think that
Seth Rollins and LA Knight. Seth Rollins and LA Knight is going to be the Night of Champions match
for the title.
they're gonna wrestle whether for the title or not. They're gonna wrestle each other.
That was a better spear. That was better. I hope the WNBA can get better and be what we all thought it was going to be going into this season. It's just not quite there yet. And you know, they need a healthy Caitlin Clark. They need a healthy Paige Beckers. They need a quality ANGELREESE team, and they need her to look. She needs to learn. She needs to learn how to play basketball better. That's part of the prop. She just does. She as a big, she shouldn't be playing and shooting as poorly as she is. She needs to learn how to pass out pass off of rebounds. I feel bad because once you told me that she has a rod in her leg and that's why she can't. I'm telling you right now, that's 80% of her problem right now. She can't elevate at all. Like there's no elevation in her. And I don't know if that's a permanent thing in her leg or whatever, but they just need quality basketball. And I think with a little bit of drama added in. And hopefully they can kind of get this turned around then. But right now it's just kind of sitting there they're in like it's like they're in purgatory. They're not quite, but just something's missing, and it's the injuries and everything else.
You know what? As far as it being memes, I follow the WNBA page, and last night Stephanie White, the coach for Indiana, was out, and they had Caitlin Clark standing there around the team. And the WNBA page, they make a lot of memes and stuff like that, and they had Caitlin Clark standing there in the middle of the team, and then they had they had this little caption in the middle. So if everybody, and it was kind of funny because I had to cover it up. So if everybody put in $10, all of us can get pizza. But if all of us contribute $15, then all of us can get sodas too. And that's what the caption said. This was on the WNBA page. This is not something that just a social media person just put. This was on the WNBA's main page. WNBA got game. So that was I'm like, where did y'all come up with this stuff? I mean, I never forget when Sonya Citron, she got knocked out by Brittany Griner. I never forget they had Sonic Coin shooting out and everything. So there's a lot of memes when you follow the WNBA right now. I think they need to get their main stars back. And while they're away, I really think that these networks need to do a better job of talking about these MVP races. They need to be talking about the Rookie of the Year race, Most Improved Player of the Year race, who's going to make the All-Star. The fact that you have two teams that are on a two-team race to them. And not to mention, these two teams have the potential in order to break the most consecutive games record that it was set back in, I think, 2017, where, a team won 13 games in a row. Well, 15 games in a row. You have to talk about this. If this were you have to talk about this. This was the summertime. Let's just be real. The NBA is about to end. Baseball is good, and we're all paying attention. But you have to think about this. This is a time where you can be talking about it. You don't have a lot of news for football coming along. You have 1 month to prepare. So if you don't start getting the word out on the product at this point, you're going to have to ask yourself, are you even going to exist in 2 years?
Well, this is my thing. Where does everybody consume the most media?
Social media.
Yeah, but on what device?
Phone.
Your phone. So this is where I'm saying that they need to capitalize on the drama. but follow it with quality basketball. Because, okay, right now, if I asked you, what is the most popular WNBA TikTok channel? What is it?
The Indiana Fever.
No.
It's not?
No, it's the guy that makes fun of ANGELREESE on all the time. And he goes,
it's the ANGELREESE missing her first shot.
Yeah.
That guy. Oh, okay. I'm talking
on ANGELREESE missing her.
My bad. I thought you was talking about I thought you was talking about as far as teams and stuff like that is concerned. Okay.
No, I'm saying to the common fan, me, okay, me. I'm the guy that doesn't follow the WNBA on a daily basis or keep up with I don't know the ins and outs. I know nowhere near what you guys know when it comes to WNBA. But right now, that's what they're known for right now. And that's what most people are commentating on and making content with. And right now, the only thing that and that's not good. And I think they need, again, they need look, they need Caitlin Clark in a massive playoff series that is goes to 7 games or whatever, and it's back and forth between her and somebody. You need the eyeballs to be drawn. And look, let's just all admit it. Caitlin Clark is the eyeballs. She is. Love her, hate her, deserved, not deserved, however you want to put it or feel, she's the eye, what draws the eyeballs. You need her in some kind of great playoff series to draw the common fan and the eyeballs to it on Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it, on TikTok, whatever else. And then you will see a prominent rise or a better rise to the WNBA, because then it's going to go, because then it's kind of, for all you conservative and Reagan fans out there, it's kind of like trickle-down economics. You bring all the eyeballs because of Caitlin Clark, and then all the eyeballs will trickle down to everything else, because they're going to go, oh, wait a minute. Paige Beckers is actually really good too. I'm going to tune into a whatever team she plays for game, or then it's going to be like, oh, well, wow, Asia Wilson is actually really good. I'm going to turn into a Las Vegas Aces game. And so then it just kind of trickles down. And so, it's unfortunate. Back to the original point with the injury bug, we all want to see, I think even the most common fans that know that good skill, we want to see Paige Beckers versus Caitlin Clark. That's what we want to see right now. Now we just can't see it right now. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, they don't play it till June the 25th, so they got plenty of time. So I'm hoping
hopefully they're both healthy by then.
Hopefully, about to say, hopefully they're both healthy by then.
Because that probably is going to be the highest rated game ever. And even because the craziest thing about it, even with Caitlin Clark on the bench, the arena sold out.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Center sold out. But I hate this injury bug going on. I know me and you been going back and forth BRF about Asia Wilson or Nafisa Collier. It looks like you're right. It's just a year fee.
I ain't changing my mind. I am not changing my mind. It is Nafisa Collier for MVP. I mean, they can't lose, and she is playing unbelievable ball right now. It's Nafisa Collier. I mean, here's the thing though. San Antonio is going to make a run at some point. I told you, because they're starting to play better ball, and I told you, you got Asia Wilson, you got Becky Hammond as the coach. I think they have enough pieces around them to make a run. But Nafisa Collier is she on one right now. So if Minnesota can keep playing at a high level like this, and she just stays on this tear, I mean, I don't think Asia Wilson could dethrone her at this point. But there's still a lot of ball to be played, so we'll see where it goes. But she is the unquestioned MVP right now.
Plus, we don't know how long Jonquel Jones is going to be out for the New York Liberty. So you can best believe but New York Liberty is very, very deep. So it's going to be interesting to see if they beat in the finals again
right now they have a potential league MVP in the form of Breanna Stewart, although Nafisa Correa is miles ahead of her at this point in time as far as the MVP race is concerned. They have the Defensive Player of the Year with Natasha Cloud, and they have the Sixth Person of the Year award on their team potentially. So they are deep as far as the New York Liberty is concerned. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with. I think Nafisa Correa thus far is the MVP, what they're calling it on the internet at this point. But look, I'm gonna tell you this. Look out for when Asia Wilson starts playing well, because when she turn it up, it's gonna be hard to turn it down.
When she turn it up, it's gonna be a battle.
It's gonna be a battle, so it's gonna be interesting. So, plus, you know what? The collective bargaining agreement is here. They are playing for their contract, so like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see if Asia Wilson win another MVP and they get another, and they get a huge raise next year, which she leaves Las Vegas to go somewhere else. Because I'm not gonna lie. Depending on how big the collective bargaining agreement is, they might back up a Brinks truck in order to get it. We could potentially see the first $1 million player next year, because a lot of these young women are free agents next year, including Breanna Stewart and Asia Wilson. They're the two biggest free agents next year, so it's going to be interesting to see. Anything you want to add, Flashman?
That's more your guys' realm. You guys know more about that stuff than I do.
Okay, cool.
I've been talking out of my butt.
All right, Flash then. BRF, if you're Chicago Sky, do you trade Angel or Cardozo? Is it time for one of them to leave?
Good Lord. I think the investment that they are gonna make, I think you trade Cardozo. I think you have to. Just from the standpoint, I think of the investment that they've already made into ANGELREESE as far as like being the face of that team. I think Cardozo might have to be the one to go.
Do you give any?
So yeah, I'm gonna say. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Flash.
Do you give any credence, or do you think it's just internet fodder, essentially, that Angel's teammates are kind of sick of the whatever it is?
Yeah. I give credence. I give credence to it, which is why I don't think it's not an easy decision to make. I think if it keeps adding up to what the players are tired of, the media attention that ANGELREESE is bringing, she has to go.
I think Angel's got to go. And just because, I mean, we've already seen it a couple times where she's been benched and they play better. And
they still got blown off the court.
What?
They still got blown off the court.
Yeah, they still got. Yes, yeah. Angel needs to go to a team. If they could somehow send her to a team that would better serve her talents, I think you just trade. You trade ANGELREESE. I don't know how much you get for her right now. Why is Liv back out here again? And why is it Nikki? Did I miss something here? I mean, I'm not upset about seeing Liv Morgan twice in the night.
This is probably going to be the Night of Champions match.
I got to ask y'all this question right here.
This is either going to be the Night of Champions match or the SummerSlam match, one of the two. But I can already tell they're teasing it already.
Now, I'm going to ask y'all this because I'm not going to talk about this on TikTok. I'm going to wait till some more details come out about it, but I'm going to talk about it on here first. Now, remember Flage Johnson? She came out and said how her and Angel wasn't really friends anymore. And, it was because of things that was going on in the locker room at LSU. Then you heard little rumblings about her and HVL not getting along at LSU. You remember that? Because remember what I said, we didn't do it right the first time trying to run it back. Then you start hearing rumblings last year of how Marina Mabry didn't want to play in that environment as well. is there a possibility that it's just like that locker room is like, they just like, hey, we're not down for this drama at this point. Plus,
I don't know, dude. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Please correct me if I am. But I watch ANGELREESE play basketball, and I watch her highlights. And I see her throwing the ball up at the hoop like a toddler. And everybody is crowded around her. And you can see it on the bench when everybody's just like, pass the ball. And
you got to trust your teammates.
Yeah. So
you got to trust them.
Dude, I think there's something to that. Like, you can't, again, now she's what, 20 years old, 21 years old?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she said some silly things in the media too, you know, and she's got her own podcast, and she's got this, and she's got that, and she's got the Reese's Pieces, and, you know, and then the cereal on top of the Reese's Pieces, and she's got all these things, and it's like, you know, and all we heard all summer or all winter was she was working out with Lisa Leslie and whatever, and she's just gotten worse. So it's like, if I'm a teammate, yeah, I'd be kind of sick of her too. I just, you know.
I mean, like I said, when Flage came out, it's just like, you know what? And then you heard rumblings about Marina Mabry, and then, you know, because Marina Mabry, she was adamant about being traded. You know,
they're doing that at Night of Champions?
Guess so.
No way!
Yep.
Damn, I was one pay-per-view off. I thought it was going to be Money in the Bank. They're doing it at Night of Champions. I was one show off. God dang it.
But yeah, you have to wonder at certain point. It's just like, because like I said, you heard about a lot of rumblings with her in HVL at LSU. Flage comes out and says something about, you know, how they're no longer free. Remember her, Flage I had their shirt. Remember when Flage and ANGELREESE was on the Slam Magazine shirt together? And ANGELREESE had the crown on.
Yeah.
And Flage Johnson was leaning over on her. It was kind of like the remake of the UNLV Running Rebels when they had Greg Anthony and Larry Johnson together. Except they had but it's just like, now that they're coming out and they're saying they're not friends, things that was happening in the locker room. Do you heard things about VHL? I mean, it's just like, wow, is there a pattern here that we need to be paying attention to?
Yeah.
Is there a pattern here? It's just like, because it's kind of like, I don't know, like I said, you know, when Coach Spoon was there, you didn't really hear about a lot of things. But now that she's gone, which I have my sentiments about that now looking back at it, because now you don't see the coach at the press conference with the players as much as we saw with Coach Spoon there. Remember when Coach Spoon was there, remember when all the players would go to the press conference, she would be right there with them. Now that Coach Witherspoon is gone, you don't see that coach with them at the press conference anymore.
No.
I know I'm not the only one that noticed that.
No.
So I have to ask myself this. Did they remove Coach Witherspoon because they said, okay, you're a good coach, but we can't have you babying these players, these new and up-and-coming players that are here?
But that's the thing, though. Like, I honestly think the reason why she started going out there with those players was because some of the stuff that ANGELREESE kept running her mouth in, because she'd give interviews and say something, you know, that a 21-year-old would say. And so, you know, then they go play Indiana, and then everybody be asking about Caitlin Clark, and she did a great job of saying, like, look, we're not going to talk about that right now. Like, we're just going to move on. You just do the Bill Belichick thing. You move on, just ignore it, whatever, which is the right thing to do. And so I don't know. I don't know if the organization was like, let's just let ANGELREESE's star shine. And
what do you think, URF?
I think they kind of I think they kind of put themselves in a situation now with this because Angel-Reese is, for better terms, regressing offensively. So they kind of had themselves in a bind if they wanted to try to take the reins off and let her be her. It's like, if you're gonna take the reins off of somebody, at least do it in a sense where you know they are improving as a player.
Yeah.
With Angel-Reese, defensively rebounding, that's unquestioned. She's one of the best in the league already. Offensively, she's trash, and
Her footwork is terrible.
I mean, like I said, offensively, she's trash, and that's got to be the focal point of her game if they're going to take it to the next level with her, as far as like wanting to really build that team around her. So I think they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if they want Angel-Reese to kind of be this star, she needs to be a complete player first, and she is nowhere near that yet.
I think defensively she's improved a lot. She's forced a lot of turnovers. You know, she did a hell of a job against Breanna Stewart earlier in the season. You know, she held her own defensively. It was just the offensive part that needs to go ahead.
Oh,
if
you can make a case. You can make a case. She's already like, I think she's already the best rebounder in the league. People can make fun of that all they want. She's already the best rebounder in the league. You can already make a case. She's the top 5 defensive player in the league already.
Yeah,
but it's the offense.
Even Cameron Brink and Rakia Jackson, all of her peers are saying that as well. She's like, I wish I had the rebounding IQ that Angel has. But the thing is, we need for you to work on that scoring, because
exactly,
you need to, scoring is essential, especially when your team is not that good. You know, especially with you being a big. But I really think that eventually it's gonna come down to either Cardozo or Angel.
But here's the thing, though, is if that's all she is, then that's okay. Just put her in a position to be that. That's what she is.
Maybe that's why
stalwart and your rebounder. Then her job is to be, I mean, maybe the Dennis Rodman of the WNBA. I mean, I don't think she's as good as on defense and the rebounding as much as others, but that's fine. But I think if right now what Chicago should not be doing is putting her in a position to do anything offensively. And I like, her job should be defense, rebounding, kick the ball out. That's it. That's all Rodman used to do. And to PSP's point in the comments, that's all Rodman used to do.
Are they letting his son come out in his entrance?
Apparently,
yeah. They did. That wasn't the first time. Roddy Piper used to let his son do it too.
That's
she's Rodman of the NBA, of the WNBA.
Now his son can cry when he gets the Money in the Bank turned in on him in about 10 minutes here.
You go away. Go away.
Honestly, we're predicting that, but that's not a given either, because you know how they can swerve us.
I know.
You are so mean. But yeah,
look, hey, it wouldn't be the first. Hey, look at Dom right now. We saw him cry on a Monday Night Raw, and look where he's at now.
Yeah, that's true. But I really think, to PSP's point, she is Dennis Rodman of the league. And guess what? You know, hell, Dennis Rodman used to be all over the place too now. You know, let's not forget, he was with Carmen, Electra, Madonna. Granted, you know, Angel know not to do that, because that'll start a whole nother conversation. But, you know, she was over there with Sexy Red, and
I mean,
dancing on her podcast with Sexy Red, and stuff. That was interesting.
Just have her be her. Like, that's it. And that's okay to be just her. She doesn't have to be like, this will go away at some point, the whole fallout from the comparison to Caitlyn and all that kind of stuff. Like, it'll go away and it'll kind of dissipate, and everything and just have her be that defensive rebounder or whatever.
You know what? There was a thought that crossed my mind, and I'll ask you guys this question. Everybody wants the NBA to flourish. I think we all can agree on that. But I don't think people count. I don't think a lot of people, I'm just going to be real. I don't think a lot of people, internet or otherwise, are quite ready to see these athletes get criticized on the level that a lot of these NBA players and a lot of these other big time sports players are. I really don't think they were ready. People were ready for that. I really don't think that. I really think that we was ready for the glamorous part. I really think that we was ready to see everybody elevate their game. I really think that we was excited to see the arenas. But the thing is, when that light shines on you, I don't think that criticism, I don't think the world was quite ready for the criticism. I don't really, and the thing is, I don't really think that, people was ready for the criticism for Caitlin Clark on both sides. Let's not get it.
I don't think the players were ready for it either.
Well, the thing is, when you are, it goes back to what I said earlier, when you used to being the underdog and now that light shining bright on you and now they holding that light up on you behind, now you're going to be criticized. When you have a bad game, you're going to be criticized. And it doesn't help with internet people who don't know they don't know basketball from a hole in their foot. Start talking about basketball, and it has nothing to do with basketball. Just because a person is criticized about their basketball ability doesn't mean we hate them.
No, but then you get silly ass comments by Brittany Griner saying like it used to be so quiet in the arenas, and now you got fans in there, and now they're yelling and screaming things, and I'm like, what? Y'all are complaining that nobody was watching you, and now people are watching you complaining about that too?
Well, the thing is, I don't think, like I said, I don't think that the players were ready. I don't think their social media was ready. I don't think that a lot of I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. If I get heat for it, then I get heat for it. I don't think as a society that we were used to seeing a lot of women athletes getting criticized. Like they tried to pull things out of their behind when it came to Serena Williams and Coco and a lot of other women athletes, but they were so great that you had to try to pull something out of your behind because you just had to criticize them about something. They're too good. They're too perfect. But I don't think that as far as basketball is concerned, it's on a day-to-day basis because one day you could have a good game and everybody's clapping for you. Yeah, you're the greatest. And then the very next game, you go 0 for 7 and they're ready to burn you and behind having a bad game. I don't think the world was ready for that, man. And I think that a lot of internet people was not ready for that to come up. But when you have the light shine on you like that, that's what's going to come with the criticism. And I don't think that people understand. And I don't think a lot of casuals who came over and started watching the sport of women's basketball, I don't think they was ready for that. And I don't think they really understand the nature of the beast when it comes to a sport. Because in sports, you get mauled in the media. If already had a bad game, no. Jason Tatum, look, this is how bad the media is. Jason Tatum literally won an NBA title, was one of the best players on the floor, and was one of the top 5 players in the league. He went to the Olympics with Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr himself said that I didn't do a good job of managing him. And they roasted him for that.
Yeah. Dude,
and they
look at LeBron. Look, I'm a LeBron hater. I'm a LeBron hater. Fully, totally admit it. But that dude has been criticized more.
Exactly. I don't think that a lot of media members are ready for that level of criticism.
No, and on top of it, let's be honest. Look, and this may get me in some. Well, I don't give a crap if I get in trouble. Look, we aren't supposed to criticize women. You're not supposed to.
We're not supposed to, and that's how come I don't on my platform. I always speak about the dub in a very, very good light. You're not supposed to.
But look, all you hear constantly is we want to be treated the same way. We want to be treated equally. Well, that's fine. Then if you get the praise, then you got to get the criticism too. That's part of it. So then you got to accept that aspect of it. The one thing that I want to take ownership of in what I think was a mistake I think, by older heads that crave the yesteryear NBAs from the 80s and the 90s. I watched a lot of highlights recently of I forgot her name, but right now there's a lot of internet chatter and TikTok and Instagram. The girl that's like scratching eyeballs and yanking hair and
DJ?
Yeah.
DJ Care.
Yeah, and everybody's all mad about it. And you see all these dudes getting up on there like, I should throw her out of the league. And I'm sitting there going like, wait a minute, hold up. All of us old heads that crave the days of the 80s and 90s, this is the shit that we were applauding. Let them go through their 80s and 90s stage. Let them go through that. I don't care. Like I've kind of come around on this. Like when like Caitlin Clark was getting mauled last year, it's like
the reason why we was because we, like I said, it goes back to what I said. And you can chime in, BRF, anytime you get ready.
All right.
We was not used to seeing that. It's just like we used to seeing a whole bunch of dudes beat the crap out of each other. But it's like, bro, what are you doing? It's kind of like when I'm not gonna lie, when I saw, my sister was a basketball player, so when I saw my brother play basketball, I really was like, okay, you can tear his damn head off. He's 6'3", he bench press like 500 pounds. He finna get back up in a minute. You gonna feel his wrath. But when I look at the WNBA, in a sense, the guy part comes out of me. It's kind of like my little sister out there getting mauled. Like, good God, what are y'all doing? It's just like, even Draymond Green was saying, hey, you might want to go overseas and get Elizabeth Cambridge back because she needs an enforcer. Bad. Everybody was talking about we need to get Caitlin Clark an enforcer because good God, because she had a de-escalator in the form of the Leah Boston, but everybody was talking about an enforcer. But the thing is, we was looking at the lens of it as a guy, as them like our little sisters. It's like, man, our little sisters out there just get mauled out there.
Yeah, dude. But okay, I just got to bring up a point right now. Okay, bitches be nasty to each other. Did you ever watch those Powerpuff or those Powder Puff games back in high school? Did you guys have those?
Women are more competitive than the men, boy. They're
nasty as shit to each other.
They get grimy.
No, and then it goes back to that meme I told you about. Go back to that meme. Remember, Brittany Griner knocked the crap out of Sonya Central, knocked the Sunday cords out of Sonya Central.
So, and that's the thing. I started watching.
But we're not used to seeing that on the women's side, on the biggest thing. We're not used to seeing that.
It's jarring. Like, it's acceptable, I think, for us. Like like we turn on like UFC 316 this past Saturday night. We're used to seeing dudes like, but at the same time, like I'm used to seeing women kick the crap out of each other in an octagon. But it's just different on a basketball court. And I had to like kind of pull myself out of my whatever and go, no, let them go. If they want to, pull out each other's hair and, start scraping it. Dude, I watched Larry Bird clothesline people for, Kurt Rambis do awful things to each other.
That was you know what? My mom was actually a Laker fan, right? And I was watching the Good Friends, Better Enemies documentary.
Yeah.
And when I watched it, I said, Mom, I called my mom up and I told her, I said, Mom, come here. And I was watching on her TV. I said, Mom, you remember this? And I turned the tape on. And she's like, yeah, I want to jump through the screen and grab his ass. But she was a Laker fan. She's like, I hate it. She's like, I hated the Celtics.
Dude, the shit that the Pistons used to do to Jordan was
the Jordan rules.
If it wasn't in an arena, they would have gotten arrested.
Yeah. But like I said, we're not used to seeing that in the women's competitive sports, and we're not used to hearing a lot about the criticism. It's like, you might want to lay off. Because it's just like I said, that's how come I speak. When I speak about the WNBA, I always speak about it in a glowing light. There's never a lot of criticism behind it because, like I said, I don't think the world is quite. Can you imagine? The thing is, Angel's been in the league for 2 years. she's already getting LeBron. She only getting a snippet of what LeBron has gotten his entire career. That's just a snippet. That's just a little pour in the can of how much we lay on LeBron every single week. If he don't go out there and get 50 points a game, we're criticizing.
I think that the WNBA deserves, like, or players or whoever deserves criticism. Like, you know, if you play poorly, that should be part of, that should be part of it. Like, again, you can't get all the glory and none of the criticism. That's just part of the game, and you got to accept that aspect of it. But I also think that we have to, again, like, you know, we have to be realistic with our criticism as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think it's fair to say that ANGELREESE is playing terrible basketball right now. Like, I think that's a fair statement. I don't think that's out of being out of pocket. You know, to say that you know, just the same as, like, I think the media has handled what the WNBA has been doing poorly. I think they've handled it poorly. That's a fair criticism. You know, but you know, at the same time, though, I think that a lot of things have been going right. I think Nike's handled the release of shoes. Like, look at Asia Wilson's shoes; those sold out in 10 seconds, twice. So there are certain good things, you know, and I think that there's, like, stars are starting to make their way in, or I should say, it's not star, talent is. Now we just need to see that talent flourish, but we need some, like, quality. We need you need a 1958 NFL championship game. You need, you know, Indiana State versus Michigan State. Like, you need that moment. Like, you need something, and it just hasn't happened yet. And I'm talking about the basketball side. We haven't seen that yet. And once we do, once we see that moment, that's when you'll see the league change and elevate. But until that happens, it's nothing. Right now, it's gonna be nothing but memes and drama right now on whether Caitlin Clark is actually a lesbian. Like, that's all it's gonna be right now, unfortunately.
You're gonna do that during Alphabet Month. Shame on you. Anyway, you're gonna do that during Alphabet Month. What is wrong with you?
Oh, you got time?
What is wrong with you?
There's plenty wrong with me. But come on, dude. Dude, some of the TikTok videos have been hilarious. Like, what?
I can't with you. I can't with you.
You are trying not to laugh, good sir. You're trying not to laugh right now because you see the same videos that I have, and you're not trying to laugh.
I can't with you. I can't with this man, bro. I can't. Boy, oh Jesus Christ.
What? It's funny.
I mean, look, if my teammate had a set of legs like that,
that's my point. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's why it's funny.
If my teammate had a set of legs like that, I might want to thump and bump too.
Oh, Jesus.
That's my point. On almost every one of those videos, there's somebody that comments underneath, like, well, everybody looks at Sophia Cunningham that way. So, it's funny.
Even regardless of how, I don't know, man. It's just that regardless of how true some stuff may be, sometimes he be catching me off guard with some of that stuff. Still, regardless of how true it is, it's like, oh, damn. Like, okay. Oh, gosh. I mean, he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong, but still, it's like, oh, boy.
I want to see
this dude gonna have. If we ever, hey man, when we get a contract, they're gonna be all standards and practices gonna be all over us every single week because
what?
Standards and practices.
You know what? I think the better comparison, and now don't get me wrong, I think this would be is I'm more like Charles Barkley. It's like when Barkley was making fun of those big old women down in San Antonio. Like, dude, it was dude.
He went down there and ate the churros. He can be quiet from this point on talking about the big women in San Antonio.
Dude, one of the funniest, like when you mash up a video is when he makes that joke about the women in San Antonio, and then he talks about the churros, and he's going like this. Like, dude, I
Yeah.
damn near pissed myself. Like, I was on the when
The
he was
clip.
going like this, dude.
No, that ain't even the funniest part. The funniest part when he was talking about drinking Shaq soda, and Ernie was like, "Show drinking Shaq soda and eating the churros."
And of course,
Dude,
and right on cue, here come
Barkley-
PSP. Right on cue. Right on.
Dude, Barkley
Oh,
says some of
Victoria's
the
Secret.
most, dude, when he was like, I love the one. Dude, I love it when Barkley's like legit talking basketball and is just saying some of the like that when a guy's banging you, just really feel it up on your body, dude. And Shaq is over there.
Shaq giving him that look like.
Dude, and then Barkley just kept going with it, and Shaq is over there.
Mercy. Like I said, you're the Pat McAfee of the show. I'm Charles Barkley, so I'm not gonna go. I'm still talking about the laughing at it. But like I said, Sophia Cunningham. Hey, the great doctor would not like me right now for saying that, but I digress. Anyway, what are y'all thoughts about the NBA Finals so far?
Honestly, I'm not surprised it's 1-1. OKC was the better team both games. It's just that they sleepwalked through the fourth quarter, and Indiana got them in game 1. But game 2 went about how I expected, because when they blow a game, usually, and it's been like that, it's been a reoccurring pattern in the playoffs with OKC. When they blow a game like they did, they come back in the next game and they run that team out of the building, and that's exactly what they did to the Indiana Pacers in game 2. So I pretty much called it. I said I expect Oklahoma City to tie this series at a game apiece, and that's exactly what they did. And that's exactly what they did. So don't be surprised if Oklahoma City wins game 3, because I think they're in a rhythm. I think game 2 got them in a rhythm. Don't be shocked. Oh gosh, I know the underdog. The people rooting for the Indiana Pacers might hate me for this one. They might hate me for this one. Don't be shocked if OKC gentlemen sweeps them.
Oh, dude, I think.
Don't be surprised.
You saw last night what OKC's defense was on point last night.
They never lost focus at any point of the game. No. And I'm telling you, if the head coach keeps them in it, like keep them focused, like keep them on point, Indiana might not win another game this series. Right. People just don't understand. People just don't get that Oklahoma City defense is like it's next level insane. And if they're focused, Indiana might not get another game.
I think Indiana's only shot at this is just like what they've been doing all playoffs. If they just get hot from 3-point, and they just can't miss. That's their
Tyrese Halliburton got the score.
Yeah.
They play best when Tyrese Halliburton is aggressive and he's attacking and he's able to get everybody else's involved, because defenses are focusing on him, to where Pascal Siakam's making plays and Miles Turner's hitting shots. Andrew Nembhard's hitting shots. Aaron Nesmith's hitting shots. That Indiana's got a really good bench, whether it's TJ McConnell or Obi Toppin, guys like that, when they can come off the bench and hit shots. But it's all based off of the aggression of Tyrese Halliburton. Their shot to contend and win in this series is Tyrese Halliburton being aggressive. If Tyrese Halliburton is going to be passive, OKC is going to tear them apart.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. That was. I hope it's not. I think the WNBA. I think the NBA, because this is two small market teams, needs a really good series. And so and because the ratings are down, I think they need something. And I oh boy.
Wow.
No, I'm just watching the Jey Uso and Gunter match.
Ooh.
So I'm hoping it's a good series, but I think you're right, BR. I think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. I don't even think that's a hot take. I think you're exactly right.
I want it to go 7 games because I love what I've seen from the Indiana Pacers. This series deserves to go 7 games, but I just think last night was the blueprint, and OKC just reminded y'all what they can do when they're focused. And if this is the OKC you're going to get for the rest of the series, it's been nice knowing the Indiana Pacers. You're not going to get another game.
No.
Ooh.
Hey.
God. That's the first time I've ever seen Gunther hit a spear, and that sucker looked nice.
Yeah. Gunther like 6'7", ain't it?
6'6", 6'7", something. He's like 6'5", 6'6".
Died 6'5", probably closer to 6'5".
Yeah, he's closer to 6'5", but still, I mean, he's like when he first hit WWE, he was still around that. He was like 305-ish. Like he wasn't in shape. He was in shape, and his cardio was actually decent for his size. But like this is like insane.
Oh. Plus, you look like he could have been part. He looked like he would have been a part of Hell Hydra back in the day. But I digress. Tell me he don't look like he would have been part of Hydra back in the day.
Oh, of course he would have.
He looked like he he looked like a Hydra officer.
Or the Bolsheviks back in the 80s with the tag team. What are they going to do here?
Let's see what happens, because if we go into this next segment, it's gonna take us all night to do that. So let's see what's happening if he gonna actually cash it in. Oh, he got the chicken wing.
Oh.
Let me see if y'all. Just hold it. Is it going to be a title change?
I don't know, man. I don't think so.
I know that the Raw on Netflix isn't necessarily as dependent as far as like time constraints and all that stuff, but this match started early for a reason. Their match, I think, about to get overbooked the daylights out of at some point. Some stuff finna go down.
Well, you can't make if Gunter's going to lose the match, then you can't have him look weak. So this has to be a marathon.
But on that note, we're gonna end it with the people. All right, we're gonna salute y'all, and look, we'll see y'all next time. I'm still laughing at Flash, but we gonna see y'all next time.
Though. He's not wrong. I guess I wasn't expecting to hear that, but he's not wrong.
He's not, but damn.
You feel the same way I feel.
It's not a hot take, it's the right take. Just saying.
We're gonna holler at y'all next Monday.
Love y'all.